Morning, guys and gals. Froggy here. It's a real beautiful day here in Southern California, and I'm putting wires and plugs in my Corvette, and I'm going to show you how it's done. Got these off of Amazon.com, and the plugs for C5 Corvette are 41-110, and the wire set is a stock wire set. You can get a lot of aftermarket plugs and a lot of aftermarket wire sets. This is my choice. You're free to buy what you want to buy. These don't cost very much, and they work very well. These are about $6.50 a piece, and I think there's some kind of a rebate going on. And these were, how much? $50 for the wires. So, funny thing is, they sent me a installation diagram for a big block Chevy with the long wires and the distributor. So, I don't know who puts these things together, but anyway, I do believe these are the right, I know these are the right plugs, and I know these are the right wires. So let's get started. I printed out a little diagram. These are the numbers of the cylinders, not the firing order, the numbers of the cylinders. And this is the front of the car here. So if I talk about pulling the wire off cylinder number 3, which I just did, it was an easy one to get to, then now you know what I'm talking about. Okay? Keep that in mind. Now, let's take a look at that wire that I pulled off. Where did I go with it? Oh, over here. I'm going to bring it out where the light's a little better. Okay, now on the plug end of each wire, you're going to have a metal shield like this with a little spring on it. The boot just goes inside there. You're going to reuse these. They protect this rubber from heat. They might have something to do with suppression of radio frequencies or electronic interference. I'm not sure on that, so don't quote me on that. But I know they also serve to protect this from heat from the cylinder head. Nothing on the other end. You could put those little boot things on here that protect this part of the wire from heat. I don't think they're necessary with good wires, but if you like the look of them, you go ahead and do that. Now, some high-performance engines, modified engines, race engines that run at a higher temperature, they might actually serve a purpose, but on a stock motor, all they're going to do is lighten up your wallet. So I put this side by side with the other one. I can see that I do have the correct wire set. Now let's get the plug out. One more quick thing to show you. I picked up these pliers, special pliers with a special end. They're actually for hoses, but guess what? They work great on pulling plugs also. So what I did was I just took this plier, put it around the end like this, and gave it a little twisting and a little pulling action. You can also take a long screwdriver and pry up against this. Make sure that you're not prying up against something you're going to break on the other end of the screwdriver shaft. The coil end comes off pretty easy, but these, you just got to pull them. Just pull like crazy and twist, and they should come out. A little tool there for you. Let's get the plug out. This is a special socket that's made for spark plugs. It's a Craftsman 5/8 and a 3/8 drive. or you can also put a wrench around the end here. Most sockets don't have that. And it's got a rubber boot, it's got a rubber cushion inside, so that I'll put a new plug in there to show you, so that you don't break the ceramic as you're inserting the plug. Sometimes the cushion comes out. That's alright. It slips off, and you can shove it back down in the socket. So I just thought I'd show you that special socket. Alright, I've got the socket is on the number 3 plug, and see, I've got a couple of extensions on there. You're going to use a bunch of different extensions, and maybe a universal, and maybe a ratchet that has a swivel head like this one, and all that is just to get in the right position so you can get a good turn on the plug. This one looks pretty good, so I'm going to take the number 3 out. Okay, there's the old plug and a new plug side by side. Just for your reference, the old one is a 41.985 and 41.110 is the new one. That is the correct replacement for this old plug. The plug looks good. I wasn't really having any problems. I had an occasional check engine light and a misfire on number, I think it was number 7. Hold on. No, it was number 5 actually. So that's why I'm changing the plugs out. The check engine and the code the check engine would clear itself, and the code would go to history right away. So it wasn't like a really bad misfire, but it was an occasional high RPM misfire. So there's one of them. Now when these go back in, 1 drop of synthetic oil on the threads, and you can put some silicone to make them go back together on both ends, on this end here, and also on the coil, where it fits on the coil. Okay. Well, I'm not going to show you every single one. If I find one that's particularly hard to get to, I've given you the technique on how to do it. If I find, I might occasionally pull one of these hoses out of the way. Yeah, I'm probably definitely going to pull both of those hoses out of the way and then put them back. But basically, that's the technique. And like I said, I'll show you anything special if I come across it. That's the number 1 boot. I tore it with my tool getting it off, so you've been warned. It might have been my bad technique, or it might be that just happens once in a while. Anyway, it's getting thrown away, so it doesn't matter. Here's an example of one of the hoses that I'm moving. It looks to me like it's exhaust gas recirculation, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, somebody can post it up in the comments, but it looks like the hose goes back around to the back of the intake manifold, and another part of the hose goes forward, maybe forward to get some fresh air or something like that. Anyway, we're not working on that this time, but I took this hose off. I'm just taking one end of it off, and then you can see I'm going to get a nice straight shot. There. Right there is my boot. Now you're going to wonder, it's just funny, what happened to the rest of the plug wire. Well, when I pulled the top of number 5, number 5 is the one I was having misfires with, right? When I pulled the top off the coil, the bottom fell off of the plug end, It just literally fell off. So I can assure you it was time to replace these wires. And there it is right there. I haven't got the other piece off yet, but I pulled the top off the coil and the bottom just fell off. It must have been barely making a connection, an electrical connection. There must have been a lot of resistance, and it probably affected performance, although that the code would always go to history. So beats me anyway. That was a bad wire right there. Anyway, back to work. Well, there's number 5. As you can see, it broke a couple of times. This is very brittle, the red material, red rubber, whatever it is, and the black rubber is also, seems a little bit harder than the other ones, but you know. Anyway, it broke a couple of times. So the way I ended up getting it out is I took some long bent nose, needle nose pliers, and I pulled on this, the metal cover, and I was able to pull the whole thing out because it's small on the end, so it just pulls the whole deal out. So one more to go on driver's side. Before I forget, I wanted to mention to you, can you imagine what these would be like in 100,000 miles? I know that the manufacturer says they'll last 100,000 miles. Yeah, not so much. So there's nothing wrong with this engine. It's not modified. It doesn't have headers on it or anything like that. Stock engine. And that's how hot and how bad and how brittle it got on the number 5. The plug was still firing okay, and there's a tiny wire, like a thick hair, that was still connected in the middle of that ignition wire. And that was probably carrying enough current to fire off this plug, because the plug looks okay. This is a number 7 plug, the last one on the driver's side, and I took this brake, the vacuum line that goes to the brake booster, and I took that loose, and as you can see, that gives me a lot of room there. I don't know, this is a fuel line. I might be able to work around that. If I need to, I could take that off too, but let's give it a try. First off, yes, that's the coil end, and the plug end is right there. So let's try without first. I hope this one isn't as brittle as the last one. That took me like 10 to 15 minutes just to get that one off because it kept breaking apart. Okay, well, that was a little harder than what I thought it was going to be. Number 7 came out in pieces also. And if you're thinking I'm a completely hopeless mechanic, this is the first time I've done it on a C5. And I might take the blame for this one, for breaking it, but not this one. This one just fell apart, like I told you, when I took the coil end off. So I'm going to take a break for lunch and let my hands recover from the scrapes and aches and pains and stuff, and then put the I'm pretty sure going back in is going to be easier. You know, pushing something onto a fitting is always easier than pulling it off if it hasn't been off in 50,000 miles. So I'm thinking and hoping that it'll be easier going back together. Anyway, I'll be back in a little bit. Bye. I'm going to show you a little bit about the torque spec on these plugs. It's 15 pounds, and I do have a small torque wrench. What I did, the hard thing, it's really hard to get a torque wrench on all of them, but if you can get it on a couple of them, you can get a feel for how much torque to put on the other ones where you can't get the wrench in there. So anyway, I've got that special spark plug socket with the rubber inside. It's down on there. And then remember I told you over the end of it, it had a wrench fitting. So I've got a, excuse me while I look here, 3/4. It's a 3/4 socket that goes on my torque wrench, and that slips over the end of the other socket, and so I'm able to get down in there and, well, go this way. I have to push those hoses out of the way a little bit. It's a 12-point socket, so I should be able to get it on there. Hold on a second. Okay, I've got it on there. So now I can torque this one. There, you could see it and you could hear the little click. So I'm going to torque as many of them as I can, and the other ones I'm just going to use my judgment with a regular ratchet if I can't get the torque wrench in there. So I just wanted to show you that bit. Right here I've got some synthetic, pure synthetic, 100% synthetic oil. Put 1 drop of oil on the threads and then put some silicone on this part of the spark plug. And sorry, I just hit a button there. I don't think it hurt anything. Also, what I figured out, I was looking for something to help me grip the plug when I put it in to the cylinder head. And it turns out what's perfect for doing that, well, I misplaced it for a second. What's perfect for doing that is these old boots. So I could just take this, put it in the old boot, cut it off, and then use that as a little extension to help me get the plug in the cylinder head. This is what I'm talking about. I used the one that broke. Here's number 5. So I got a torque wrench on that. Now here's number 1. So I'll be a son of a gun. I got a torque wrench on all the driver's side, 1, 3, 5, 7. Now I'm just going to put the wires on, and I'm done on this side. I put silicone on the tips of each one of those plugs, although some of it might have got rubbed off when I used this extension. So I'm going to put a little more silicone on the inside of the wires. I'll probably use a Q-tip or something like that, and then pop them on there. Okay? I took the silicone with a swab and put it on both ends of this, and then I took it with my finger and just put it on the metal tip of each of the plugs, because I know that metal to metal connection is, it's got to snap. It should snap on. You should be able to hear it and feel it snap. So let's see how this goes. I'm going to need 2 hands, so I'll get back. And don't forget those metal shields, otherwise you'll have to take them all off again and put those shields on. Take a close look at how far the boot is supposed to go onto the coils. To me, it felt like I had 2 clicks, or two little, well, I'll call them clicks. They're not really loud clicks, but I could feel it. It would go on, and then I could push it harder and it'd go one more. Now on the plugs I only felt 1 click, and also you can compare it to the other side to see how far they're in. It's a little hard to do on the plugs. It's easy to do on the coil end. But of course, I guess you'll know it if you get a code that you haven't shoved the boot on far enough. But I would say, get that one click and then shove it as hard as you can once more, and wiggle it when you're shoving it to change the angle of how that little metal piece is trying to go over the end of the spark plug. Okay? One more to go. Okay, well, all I've got now is to connect those two hoses back up, and I've done the driver's side, and I'm not going to lie to you, this took me, of course I was filming, so that takes a little extra time, but it took me 3.5, 4 hours to do just one side. So you guys who can do a whole car in an hour to 2 hours, God bless you, and you must have some tricks that you use, or you're just better with your hands than I am. Anyway, I got it done on this side. Tomorrow I'll do the other side, because I want to show you both sides. They're different. I'll give you a little preview of the other side. Actually, looks to me like it might be a little easier. This is the passenger side, so this is 2468 from the front of the car to the back of the car. And there's number 2, number 4, oh that'll be easy. Number 6 I think will be okay, and number 8, oh yeah. And that's a hard line there, so that's looks like another EGR, exhaust gas recirculation line. I guess they have them on both sides. So we're going to have to work around that. But this is what we'll do tomorrow. And Froggy will put it up as 2 separate videos. Plugs and wires driver's side, plugs and wires passenger side. All on a C5 Corvette. Okay, if this helps you out, give me a thumbs up and a like. And if you want more from Froggy, subscribe to my channel. It's free. See you later, guys and gals. Froggy out.